Hello, friends. It's Chapo of the referendum in Ireland, which was started by a woman who died of an ectopic pregnancy, a wanted pregnancy, who was basically left to die on a hospital floor. That compelled, it shocked the conscience of an otherwise culturally more conservative than we are country, and they just decided that this is not. We cannot have this in a modern civilized country, and they legalized abortion in Ireland, which is a country in the was thought to be in the death grip of the Catholic Church.
But the Republic of Ireland is less culturally conservative than the U.S. right now.
Yeah, they got heliocentrism like 3 years ago.
right. I mean that is the plan, though, right? That in Democrats' perfect world, though, that's the plan. That there are enough like awful stories of women dying that it both juices donations and lets them win at a level that is comfortable to them. Lets them win at a level where there is not too much of an onus, but they did their job of beating the bad thing back. They probably even have a perfect ratio developed by some former Goldman quant of how many women per how many tens of millions of donations is worth it. How many deaths from ectopic pregnancies you get per 100 millions of donations. But again, like these are the same people that wanted Trump to win the primary. How sure am I in their perfect plan that has so many moving parts? I don't know. I do think you're right that there is such thing as hubris, and this will piss people off. I'm not sure in the mechanism to hit back at that.
Me neither. Again, because we all agree here that popular will doesn't necessarily have any effect on the legislature.
Yeah.
I mean, when Americans are abused, they go and kill their coworkers.
Yeah.
The problem is that we are conditioned like dogs to kick sideways or down, because as miserable as we are, like the thought of like truly confronting like power is more terrifying than like meeting our end, addressing violence just intimately, because there's something like we can get off on the intimate violence because we just don't have a political identity capable of like making that kind of death meaningful, like making sacrifice punching up meaningful, because we just don't believe in it enough. We only
I don't think that's it at all. I don't think it's a failure of belief. I don't think it's a failure of a sense of identity. I think those things are important, but those things are the result of having some sort of institution that wield power.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. This is all a consequence of the fact that there's nowhere for anyone to act communally. There's no way to build that identity. They didn't choose to not have it. They could not attain it.
Yeah, right. They're right.
And Matt and Amber, to your point, I mean, like it does come down to look, this is now like half the country is living under a legal regime in which it just comes down to like how willing are you to break the law, and like how many people are going to break this law so it becomes unenforceable. But the thing is, and that becomes a question of how much are you individually willing to sacrifice to stand up to what I regard as tyranny. But the answer is like you can't do that individually. Like, even it's too scary. Like the thought is too scary. And if you did it, it would be ineffective. Like all these things, they take organization and they take real leadership. And like, I guess the question is like, where's that going to come from, if at all?
The exact non-material characteristics that made America, that made the last century the American century, that made us a world empire unlike any that had ever been seen. The non-material characteristics are an illogical, insane optimism and a lack of an ability to move as a cohesive communal unit.
Yeah.
Those are the exact things that make things like this such a wild card.
A sprawl.
It makes things that would be straightforward in any other equivalent country. It makes them anyone's guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is Matt talks about this a lot, but it's the whole frontier thing that resulted in, like, this unique federalist formation that we have, where it's just, we're not a real country, we're 50 small countries, and, like, it's the amorphous blob, and that is just, like, maybe tomorrow will be better, but, like, there's no container for it, there's no momentum. I mean, like, the entire system allows for the freedom of movement of capital, but not the freedom of movement of people. I mean, like, literally, we're seeing, like, people considering, like, oh, you can't cross state lines. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, that's so... By the way, I got pulled over by a cop a while back who bitched at me for having a not having a California license for having a New York license. And he was like, why? He's like, why haven't you applied for a California driver's license? And I'm like, because a New York driver's license is valid in the state of California. A New York driver's license is valid in fucking Reykjavik. I can drive in England with that thing, you dumb fuck. And they drive on a different side of the road. Like, they really do. I mean, like, even the institutions, like, are like, yeah, we're a little fiefdom. Like, it's just, it's fucking ridiculous.
I know that our focus is mainly on Democrats, and I think we're right to do that. But that is the thing that drives me. The thing that I've been seeing in the aftermath of this that has driven me the most insane are the people, the sort of like Jabba the Hutt lip filler type, like Catholic and Baptist women who have been and men. A lot of Catholic priests who have something that's somehow even more soy than a pit crew avatar. They've invented some type of Catholic pit crew who say these things like, all right, guys, now we're really going to show them what pro-life means.
Okay,
we're going to show them community. We're going to show them togetherness. We're going to show them what it means to care for mothers. Like, this country could not even foster community bowling leagues, you dumb fuck.
Yeah,
oh my God, kill yourself.
I was doing a little fun math today, comparing the child mortality rate to the extremity of extremeness. I guess extremity means arms. The extremeness of the restrictions on abortion laws. Pretty obvious there. I mean, it's like the same. It's almost a cliche at this point to be like, yeah, you don't care about babies or mothers. Like, it's like, obviously, like, the most anti-abortion places are the places where mothers and babies are most likely to die. I mean, it's like, I'd love to make a simple little...
The same governments that say no abortion, protect the babies, treat actual children like dog shit.
Well,
because the underlying theological premise and the thing these people believe deeper than they could possibly understand is that poverty is sin.
Well, and
that is what they believe, and that's not going to change because now there's no legal abortions being performed.
I think in order to, like, I mean, whatever, this goes into sort of Freudian or Strauss or whatever, but like, I think that there is like a kind of, as far as the popular, like, anti-abortion movement among just like, regular rubes, I think there is a kind of ambient thing there where they're like, children are suffering, we have to save children. And this is like the only way they can think of doing it is by like, forcing women to be pregnant.
But those people are the least politically influential among the entire coalition. They have no say in anything.
For sure, but they are great shock troops. They're great shock troops in terms of, if you've ever had to walk through a gauntlet of them to get to a Planned Parenthood, they sure do, set a tone.
Yeah, no, Felix, I'm really glad you brought up this line of commentary that I've seen from the New York Times, I've seen it from the Atlantic, and in the midst of this fucking nightmare, I've seen the spate of articles and commentary that I've seen assuring everyone that this is the time for the anti-abortion and movement and the Republican Party to finally prove to the world how much they care about the welfare of mothers and their children is so fucking nauseating to me. Because I would like to go place a bet on how fucking okay, go, actually I don't even have to place a bet. Here is the cutting edge of what is being proposed. This is the Rubio plan. This is Christopher Rufo, the guy who is basically like, what I fuck him. But he says the Rubio plan for paid maternity leave should be a GOP priority. The idea is simple. Allow new mothers to pull forward 3 months of Social Security benefits after childbirth, then push back the retirement age by the same period. Cost neutral, delivers big value for families. This is exactly...
Don't spend it all in one place.
This is exactly how much they fucking care about the lives of mothers and children. A loan that you have to pay back before you retire.
Wow.
$700 a month.
What a shock. So, this is it. Now we're going to get to see Republicans care about pregnant women and children. Turns out they're going to do it the same way Democrats do, with means-tested fake bullshit that doesn't actually help anyone. I'm so surprised that's what ends up coming out, like, of the people who actually have influence and power. It's amazing that that's where they end up and not on some sort of Heron Volk fucking J.K. Chesterton wet dream integralist fantasy.
This is why we weren't terribly worried about fucking Euro-style fascism. It's like, that would require a welfare
delivered
state.
upon. no matter what flavor of fascism we live in, or it's like rainbow flag or fucking Trump fascism, it will have Pell Grant recipients getting 5 years of fucking tuition redeemed with fucking Shakey's pizza points. That is what you get for social policy in the future, in the now. No, there's no mechanism for popular preference for anything else to make it to the top levels of policymaking. It gets filtered out by both parties.
Yep.
All you get is fucking
capitalism is too powerful.
You get tax credits, and you get the ability to literally work more when you're old, so that you could take some time off to be with your fucking kid and form those like crucial bonds that are supposed to foster.
You'll make it up
like,
later.
Real,
God forbid you have more than 2 children.
Life. Yeah.
You're just gonna work till you're dead.
Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing though on this issue of and I'm talking this is the liberal media that is giving the most voice to this idea that here's the real chance for some sensible social policy from the GOP and the anti-abortion movement. That of course we take at face value their claims that they love all infants and mothers. I cannot help but notice that in all of these sort of dream casting scenarios about all the great healthcare and benefits they're going to be supposedly providing all of these new children that are going to be born into this country to people who otherwise wouldn't choose to bring them to term. Nowhere in any of these paeans to the alleged compassion of the anti-abortion movement are they mentioning the handcuffs, prison sentences, and death that this will bring down on potentially millions of women. That is not being talked about at all. How many of the people are going to go to fucking jail, are going to go to jail or die because for no reason, for doing nothing wrong?
I also think these conservatives are going to find out that a lot more conservative women than they think are going to go get abortions. I mean, I think they literally have blinders. I think not the women that I'm around. Yes, they fucking do. Of course they do. This is why I was so fucking pissed at Planned Parenthood for going after, even before Amy, Kobe Bryant, and all that. They fucking were just like, Trump voters are stopping the blah, blah, and I'm like, Planned Parenthood, shut the fuck up and give people abortions. Quit fucking lobbying for fundraising so that you can fuck. Do you know how many Trump voting women need abortions? For the love of God, stay on message. And I think, honest to God, the doctors, by the way, have to know this. This is their social media team or whatever that's doing this. The doctors have to know, their base of clients or whatever, or patients, whether it be for birth control or for an abortion or whatever. They know that some of these women are fucking Republicans. And at some point, the Republican men are going to figure out how many of those women are Republicans.
See, but the thing is, I think Brett Kavanaugh, at least, he anticipates this problem, and he has a solution for it. In his, he did a concurrence or something. He says one of the reasons that we can do this, we can get rid of Roe, is that, in states where they really want to have abortion, it'll still be there. And I think that's going to be the answer for Republican women who need abortions is, just take a road trip with the girls.
Yeah, which is a great thing to do when you have an ectopic pregnancy.
Yeah. That's one thing too. But again, if you come back, there's going to be things. You're going to have you're going to have a blood clot or an infection or something, and then you're going to go to the hospital back at home, and they're going to be like, "Hey, how come you're sick?" That's going to happen every once in a while. Especially, whatever, pregnancy is more dangerous to the health of a woman than an abortion, but shit happens, and there's going to be some fucking anomalies, and some of them are going to have to be with Republican women.
And to that point though, and the idea that New York and California will always be kind of these safety valves or whatever. But I don't know. How confident are any of us that these people will stop here? Because one more Republican president, how fucking quickly do you think it will take them to pass a national federal abortion ban in which it is now illegal in all 50 states, regardless of what the state governments think about it? Because look, to give it credit, if you think abortion is murder, you can't just be like, okay, well, it's fine if just states decide if they can murder a baby or not.
Right,
and I would say most of these people don't actually believe that, but the people in power, I would think will hesitate about a fucking second before fucking carrying this out, because I think to them it's not about like, oh, is abortion murder or not. I think it is about how to enact as much cruelty and sadism on the lives of people they consider beneath them possible.
Oh, totally, and provide something that sounds like care for children to suffering like just like miserable people while not actually caring for children. It's like this weird bait and switch thing too, where they're like, "Hey, look, we care about kids. We're not going to provide fucking welfare, but we'll force pregnancy on women." I mean, that's I think the thinking behind it. I really believe that.
Right, and in the practical sense, for a Republican executive, the thing that you do instead of the Democratic equivalent is like, oh, I'm not getting anything done. I'm tanking. Okay, no more Juul. I have to look busy.